Aditya Birla Group presents Budget 2015, the Make in India Budget, co-presented by SBI.
Welcome back. You're watching our continuing coverage here on CNBC TV 18, and I'm joined now by the Disinvestment Secretary as well as the Banking Secretary. Appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Ma'am, let me start by asking you, you've got the bulk of the responsibility as far as revenue mobilization is concerned. You've got to deliver 70,000 crores in terms of disinvestment. It's a mind-boggling number. I don't envy you. How challenging and how realistic is this number?
See, it's certainly ambitious because if you see the numbers from 2000 to 2014, it's about 7 times that. But if you compare with this year's achievement, which is the highest ever, which is 24,200 crores approximately, it's still 2.8 times that. But you know, we have a strategy in place in the sense that we are moving our approvals up front. We're not going to look at, a last quarter mad scramble. This year it's going to be evenly paced out. And
but I'm sorry to interrupt you. Everybody says that. The last time when we had a conversation around the budget time, this was the same claim that was made, that we'll spread out the disinvestment through the year. But it got bunched up once again to the very last, to the last quarter.
No, I really do not want to comment on what anybody said in the past. But what I would like to clarify is that there's a different strategy in place this time. We've got a huge pipeline in place. See, earlier they used to have an annual plan, identify 7, 8, 9, whatever stocks, and go after them one by one. Now the problem in that was, first of all, your flexibility was limited. You were limited to those particular stocks. Second was, approvals process took a long time. You kept waiting. Third was, the stocks got hammered down. And so it was not a very robust way. We realized that, and now we have what you call a rolling plan. We picked up the stocks, whatever is available, and even today I've got about 7 stocks which are already cleared and everything.
So what is the list looking like? You're saying 7 have already been cleared by Cabinet or by the Finance Minister, I would imagine. What is your list looking like in terms of the disinvestment plan for the year ahead?
We would be having something like about 30,000 crores worth of approvals very shortly. So the point I'm making, the numbers don't really count so much, but the point I'm trying to make is we have a pipeline. We fast-tracked our approval system. In other words, we've addressed the supply side. Now the constraint to my mind is twofold. One is, how fast can you do it? How much depth is there in the market? You can't have a stock coming every day. These are huge divestments. 66 crore shares, 33 crore shares, 120 crore shares, these are kind of divestment they are. And secondly, what is the market condition? For example, of the stocks we have right now, around almost 40-50% are metals. They're globally glutted. About 28 to 30% are oil. There are issues there, and hopefully they'll get sorted out. Hopefully the global market for metals will also pick up. So the point I'm trying to make is, we are trying to expand our kitty, trying to get all our supply side in place and watch the market. We've been able to protect many of our stocks of late against hammering by surprising the market.
Yes, you've done a good job of surprising the market, but you were talking about oil, and one of the big ticket disinvestments that we were expecting along with Coal India was ONGC. I had the oil secretary here a short while ago, and he said, well, we'll see. I can't give you clarity, but we hope that it will happen shortly. Hopefully you can give us more clarity on when we should expect the ONGC issue to go through, ma'am.
ONGC was, when I joined here in October, ONGC and Coal India and SAIL were the 3 stocks I inherited, where some sort of approvals had been done. And yes, but then what happened? The global oil prices just went down and down, and it was not the right time to do ONGC.
So will you have to wait till the government arrives at a new subsidy sharing mechanism before you actually go to the market with ONGC?
I think to get a full value of the stock, perhaps the approvals that need to be taken, it would be better to get them taken.
So in this list that you're drawing up at this point in time, how many of the Coal India, ONGC kind of big ticket disinvestment candidates are we looking at, and how many of the smaller guys are we looking at? Is your list populated with the smaller issues, or you'd have several big ticket issues as well?
That is the constraint I was talking about. There are no other issues that we have at all of the size of Coal India. Coal India has been the biggest issue of all time. Private, public, everything all together in a single day. So we don't have any issues of that size. So really the constraint we have is, how fast is not fast enough? Because I have my pipeline ready, but the size of the stocks is much smaller.
So, but Suti, and this has been something that's been on the disinvestment table and on the disinvestment calendar for several budgets. It gets mentioned very often, but eventually nothing much takes place. As far as Suti is concerned, what is the realistic plan now? Are you finally looking at offloading government stakes in ITC, L&T? You already did some in Axis Bank, but L&T and ITC, finally, could we see the government stake via Suti come down?
I believe the Suti valuation is around 60,000 crore today, but I think Finance Secretary is the right person to ask.
I tried to ask him
because this investment, it's not part of our mandate. So, but I'm sure you
because that will solve a lot of your problems, won't it?
Absolutely.
It will solve all of your problems, actually.
I won't really call them problems, but yes, we have constraints because how fast can you do it?
Okay, Mr. Adhia, let me ask you now, as far as banks are concerned, the banking sector will not necessarily be happy with the 7,000 or little over 7,000 crore rupee recapitalization allocation that has been made in the budget. But the hope is that once you set up this autonomous bureau, banks will be given more leeway and freedom to be able to tap the kind of funds. The Minister of State, Jayant Sinha, just told me that you are looking in consultation with the Reserve Bank at the possibility, for instance, of differential voting rights and shares of DVRs for banks. What should we expect now as far as innovative fundraising ideas are concerned?
Well, first of all, let me tell you that unlike the popular perception, the public sector banks are not that worse off in terms of capital adequacy ratio. We are very well meeting the Basel norms as of now. We are likely to meet it even till end of 2016, means till financial year 2016. Even with a growth rate, presuming a growth rate, credit growth rate of 15%, and even if we don't put in a single more money in the public sector bank, we are still adequately meeting the Basel norms.
Okay.
So that is not a problem. Now, innovative ways of financing, what our view is that in any case, after so many years of bank nationalization, the government cannot keep on putting more and more equity in public sector banks. Now, we have to find out innovative ways of funding the banks. So one of them is that we already said that we will bring down the equity of government to 52%.
How soon will we start to see that process?
No, that of course all the banks have started doing it. Banks have just taken our approval, and depending on the depth of the market and demand side, they are going into the market. Even the SBI will come up very soon, But they don't want to bunch it all together because they have got enough adequacy now. So they will also watch the market and do it as and when. If the entire all the banks bring it down to 52%, we'll get about 80,000 crores straight away from there, even as for the present market valuation.
Aradhana Johri, the Disinvestment Secretary as well as the Banking Secretary, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Thank you very much for your time and for giving us more clarity on the issues that the market wants more color on. Thank you very much indeed.
Aditya Birla Group presents Budget 2015, the Make in India Budget, co-presented by SBI.